Bridging generations, the world keeps turning, the times move fast. What worked before may not always last. Fathers, sons, brothers stand tall, learning from each other, we rise through it all. Young and old, side by side, bridging the gap with truth and pride. The times may change, but the heart remains. Let's connect, break the chains. Bridging generations, voices of men, from the past to the future, we rise again. Different views, but the bond stays strong. We listen, we learn, we all belong. We're living in a world that's shifting fast. New challenges come, but our strength will last. Wisdom meets vision, we light the way. Standing together, we won't fade away. Young and old, side by side, bridging the gap with truth and pride. The times may change, but the heart remains. Let's connect, break the chains. Bridging generations, voices of men, from the past to the future, we rise again. Different views, but the bond stays strong. We listen, we learn, we all belong. We're living in a world that's shifting fast. New challenges come, but our strength will last. Wisdom meets vision, we light the way. Standing together, we won't fade away. And challenging world, a brand new stage. We must rise to meet the age. With open minds and hearts that lead. Together we grow, together we succeed. Bridging generations, voices of men, in a changing world. In a changing world.
Greetings, friends of the Ecologian with Purpose movement. Welcome to Bridging Generation, Voices of Men in a Changing World. I am Dr. Laxley Stephenson. This groundbreaking podcast delves into the multifaceted experiences of men across different generations. In an era where societal norms and expectations rapidly evolve, this show offers young and older men a unique platform to voice their challenges, triumphs, and perspectives.
Each episode aims to foster understanding and bridge the gap between generations, exploring themes ranging from masculinity and mental health to career dynamics and personal relationships. By bringing together voices from varied age groups, the show sheds light on the commonalities and differences in the male experience, encouraging open dialogue and mutual learning. I am Dr. Garfield McCook, one of your hosts.
So whether it's a teenager grappling with the pressures of social media or a senior reflecting on the changing definitions of manhood, Bridging Generations is committed to uncovering the real stories of men navigating the complexities of a changing world. I am another one of your co-hosts, Dr. Juan Marcel. Doc, what's going on?
Well, gentlemen, in a changing world, what a world we're living in, right? We see things just flying off the handle everywhere. The market all over
Yes.
the place. Decisions being made, and it's just what's going on out there, man.
Just a crazy world that we have to try to survive. We can't adapt to certain things. You can't adapt to. You don't adapt to a situation like this. You just try and survive and make the best you can, and you move on.
Growing up in Jamaica, right? We used to play with gigs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see this thing spinning. That's what it feels like. This thing that's spinning so fast. It's hard to keep pace, It's hard to keep pace. But we're resilient people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know what our priorities are, and we know who is responsible for whom, right?
Right.
Ultimately,
Yes.
we hold full responsibility for our outcome. So, anyway, gentlemen, we have a big show tonight. We have a powerful guest. He's going to come on and he's going to share with us. And he's one we talk about resilience, talking about becoming iron. So, we'll get to him a little bit later. Dr. McCook,
Yes, sir.
what's going on with you? We talk about commitments. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm committed, and I went to church yesterday. I classify church as my gas station, so I go there on Sunday and I fill up my tank, and during the week I tap it up. So that's my commitment. So I had a great service yesterday, and it's interesting that when the minister is there, a lot of time you feel he's talking to you because he's going to say something that's going to relate to you. And he did ask us, to go out in the world based on what's happening right now and make sure we make a difference. And I actually mentioned to him about our program here, and he says one Monday night he's going to come on. So I'm committed to the show and to making mankind what mankind should be.
I appreciate that so much. Your gas station where you go get tanked up, right?
Yes, every Sunday fill up.
That is so important. And here's a gentleman here, Dr. Juan. He knows something about church, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a pastor, by the way. He's been a pastor for a long time. So on. What's going on with your commitment?
Look, much like Dr. G, just out here trying to make a difference, just really focusing in on the mentoring piece, as well as I'm trying to add something else to, my my list of things that I do. Authorship is one of those things. So I'm actually in the process of working on 2 projects. So I'm working on that, still doing mentorship. Loving the mentorship piece, and much like G said, there are some my wheelhouse is in college and career access advising, and so there are some opportunities at my church. I've reached out to some key people in leadership just to see what opportunities are available so I can assist. So still doing that.
That's awesome. Already my commitment, it's all about these young kids, right? Students. And just like both of you, it's about the next generation, right? We're building capacity with them. We do that with mentoring. We do it with funding, scholarships, and just being a big brother for these students, right? Younger folks, and even some of the older folks as well, because we all need to have a brother, right? A bigger brother or a younger brother who's giving us guidance, because guidance can come from a younger person as well. Because you're a little bit younger than me, but yet you still give me guidance. Gary's a little bit older than I can give him. Sorry, Gary. But we share with each other, right? That's what we do.
Yes.
None of us are too old, are too knowledgeable, or know enough where we can't learn.
Yes.
Next one, right? So it's all about learning. We must live in that place, a state of learning. Let's say hello, Sitawa Kisiangani. She's all the way in Kenya. Lisa Richmond, thanks for joining us. And any other person out there who's joining us tonight. We appreciate you coming on. Doing this show and other shows is not about us. We do it, it's about you. It's about you. When we bring people on to talk to you, it's about sharing their stories. Because we know their stories is impactful for all of us. So we bring them on, not just for us, but for you. So we appreciate you joining us tonight. And please feel free to share. Because we don't sharing is caring, and we're all about giving. So, Gary, something big is happening. I want to bring it on the screen. I want you to talk about it. All right.
Yes. So, for those of you who are tuning in and who will tune in later, the Jamaica International Independence Foreign Song Competition, it's its fifth year, and we have decided for the last 2 years to have an event prior as a sort of fundraiser. This year, Afro-Caribbean High School Jammings is on May 17th, 2025, back at the same venue we were last year, our front page at 8010 Rockbridge Road in Lithonia. And basically what it is, as you see on the picture there, us trying to stay in touch with our high school, the high school we went to, whether you're in the Caribbean or in an African country or wherever it is, you're going to come out in your attire representing that school. I jokingly say all the time, for those who can't fit in the uniform, just wear the uniform. That's me bending down there in my nice purple and white tie, representing the great college of Kingston College in Jamaica. So we have, last year we had about 26 schools being represented. And this year we're looking to fill that house. Dr. Laxley was there, somewhere in that picture there in his tie. So again, Afro-Caribbean High School Jammings will be May 17, 2025. Tickets are only $40. GIFs is a 501c3 organization. And what we do is a part of the proceeds will be given back to kids in high schools, in the Caribbean, and in the African countries. So again, please come out and join us. We have two great DJs, Mikey Sparkle and DJ Chiga will be there to rock your boat for the night. So looking forward to seeing you on May 17th, jiiffc.com for your tickets, and see you there.
And I should add that Afro High School Jamming, Caribbean High School Jamming is a lead up to another event. So can you talk about that event?
Yes. So that, as I said, it's a lead up to the Jamaica International Independent Foreign Song Competition in July 26th this year. And that was started 4 years ago to provide a platform for Jamaican artists in the diaspora who we wanted to showcase their talent during our independence celebration, which is in August. So July 26th, right now we have entries coming in from all over the world. Entries are due by April 30th at jiiffc.com. Send in your lyric sheet, your MP3. And then by this year, by the 17th, actually the night of the high school jammings, we're going to announce the winner on that night. Normally it's on the 15th, but since we're having this event, we're going to use that opportunity to announce the top 12 songs. The top 12 songs will then be aired from May 18th through June 30th. Fans from around the world can select their favorite song and help propel them to the top 7. And the top 7 will be chosen on July 1st. And we move down to July 26th for the finals. Now, guys out there and gals out there, vote for your favorite song. It's a good thing. It's to help you participate in this wonderful event that we're having. I'm the president, and Dr. Lax is the life vice president. We started 4 years ago, and we're a team. We're the team to beat, and I don't think anybody can really touch us right now. We're doing a good job on this program and otherwise. So again, July 26th, the Jamaica International Independent Foreign Song Competition. 5th year, and 5 years in any organization or event is a milestone. So looking forward to seeing you. Tickets will only be $50. Come out and have some fun with us.
And a milestone indeed. I'm going to give Juan an opportunity just to comment on what Dr. McCook just said. Juan?
Look, from what I learned when we last had this conversation about these events, blown away. Like, I got 2 maestros and creative geniuses before me. So definitely, and I'm a lover of music. I say all the time, music is my love language, and so I love all genres. So for those of you who just love music, love a vibe, jams, especially Caribbean and Afro-Caribbean, love those. Laffy beats, all of that, definitely come out, get your tickets. for both events. You won't be disappointed. These folks, right? They're the real deal.
And,
they are the real deal.
Dr. McCook, I'm not sure what capacity looks like, but I know we plan to pack the house.
Yes. And interestingly, Dr. Lax, we posted the flyer on Saturday, and we have over 1,000 views already. Wow. So it's going to be a jam-packed night. Dr. Juan, you're not Jamaican, but one of these days we'll have you as a guest artist, to show us what you got.
The Afro stuff is all up in him.
Yes, I would be honored.
All right. Anyway, so gentlemen, let us take a quick break and we'll come back. Dr. Marcel, you will bring our guest on. Let's take a quick break.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. Kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Cause I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Because I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. And what a changing world we're living in. Dr. Juan, do your thing.
Yes, so, we have the distinct honor, I do, to welcome this guest for the day. So, Gerald Hamilton, he is the Senior Vice President and Growth Leader at Intraba, a premier engineering and infrastructure firm. He holds an upper second class honors degree from the University of the West Indies and a master's degree in mechanical engineering with distinction, y'all. And that's from South Bank University in London. He's been busy. He's been doing his work. He is a licensed professional engineer in both the USA and Europe. Gerald is over 25 years of global expertise in healthcare facility design and construction. He is a recognized healthcare thought leader, the fellow of the American Hospital Association, award-winning engineer, published author, and a seasoned international speaker. I told you he's been doing his work. He founded the Dreams to Reality Foundation, supporting education and economic self-sufficiency for low-income youth, and has authored the inspirational bestseller, Ghetto Youth's Bible. Bridging Generation followers and listeners, without further ado, please help me welcome our distinguished guest, Gerald Hamilton.
Give him a drum roll. Give him a drum roll. Give him something.
Let's
give him
a drum roll.
I was just listening to that. I'm like, that's me. That's
welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be on. Been long and coming. We've been trying to arrange this for a few weeks. I'm happy that I'm able to be talking to on your platform, on this platform, today.
I really appreciate you coming on. Things just kept getting in the way, right?
Yes,
It's
that's how it goes sometimes.
yeah. But
Yeah,
guess what? We're here today.
we're here.
You know,
Absolutely,
Juan
absolutely.
did an amazing job introducing you. But tell us who Gerald is.
Right. So, just I always say just just a ghetto youth that happened to, to be given the right direction and had the right parents and community to really charge me to be prepared for for life and for what I'm doing now. So always kind of give a whole lot of tribute to my background and how I was how I was how I grew up in the ghetto to really reach where I am today in life. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, but also I'm a civil engineering as well, which is kind of a double threat. People are like, what? Why would you do two engineering course? But just my curiosity and really just trying to be diversified, and it sure helped me in terms of my career and how I'm able to navigate the engineering field. I'm a healthcare specialist, meaning that I design hospitals. That's what I do. I've been doing for 25 years. I've been called on many projects where there's challenge and how to help them to really get those projects to completion. The project that I just completed actually is the Arthur Blank Children Hospital in Atlanta. So that's that's 2.5 million square feet. That's something I'm passionate about. Children and doing a children hospital in itself. It's something that you're contributing gainfully to the life of what the future is. The future of the kids, and that's something that I'm passionate about. But also in my free time, which which it's not a lot, but I do make sure I make time to pay it forward, and that's through my DTR Foundation, Dreams to Reality Foundation, in which was formulated all the way back in 2007. I actually started it really contributing to football, which is soccer here. To my coach calling me to sponsor a youth tournament in Jamaica on the 16 tournament, and I took that and ran with it, and basically I remember at the time when he asked, I didn't even have the money to sponsor it, but I figured it out and made it happen, and really it came leaps and bounds, and I've been sponsoring many tournaments since, and really have been a huge development program for kids and youths, and really really help a lot of youths in Jamaica, in Westmoreland and adjoining communities to really to create a life for themselves and divert them from crime, and really give them a platform to express themselves, but also to be successful also, if not football, also in life, because it's really the coaches and everybody involved are mentors, and it's more than teaching about sports. It's really teaching them about life, how to navigate life. We even have situation in which the coaches are teaching them how to use knife and fork, how to how etiquette in terms of skills with respect to that. So those are some of the stuff that we get involved in the community. We do I adopt the local my local primary school, Savlamar Primary, 2 years ago, that I give them $10,000 a year to contribute to capital projects as well. The local hospital, we do a lot of projects. We do Christmas gifting, like play Santa Claus in Christmas for the children wards. We do that. That's something that it's the most fulfilling feeling ever, to walk in a children ward in Christmas and give the youths opportunity to enjoy and enjoy Christmas like other folks, with getting gifts and really feeling that somebody cares, and somebody somebody's there for them, and those seeing the smile on the face and their parents' face, and the nurses are the response. It's just one of the most amazing feelings. So that's just some of the stuff that we do as a foundation. But also I'm an author. I wrote the book called Ghetto Youth's Bible, and it's really chronicling my path from the ghetto, undergoing a series of challenges. I can talk about it. I had a bike accident when I was 18 years old. I only have one kneecap, but I still run around like I have two or three. But it's navigate some serious challenges, but also it that helped me to find my purpose, and that's my purpose, is to give back, is to help, is really to really help my fellow men. That's my will. I actually realized that at an early age, which is very different to folks who realize some of those their purpose later in life. But I realized earlier on that that I was given a God gift, God gift, and that gift helped me to really give back, because that's how I was was able to mobilize my talent, because I was given and I was contributed so much by mentors and from the church, from the community, and really just from my school, just name it. So I think it would be remiss of me not to pay it forward, for and to help people who are in my situation, to rise from the ghetto themselves, and the hope is that they do go back and do the same. That's always the hope. So I'm also working on my second book. In a month time, I'll be publishing my second book, which is called From Grit to Glory, and it's really talking about entrepreneurship and leadership. So not only that, that I talked about my engineering conquest, but also my entrepreneurship, because I do part own a real estate development company in Jamaica as well also a private equity firm that I'm a part of as well. So really wearing many hats, but really trying to championing the boat, I call it the 9 to 5, but also developing entrepreneurial skills to to really build wealth for my family, but also build it in a way that I could actually give more back to the community. So that's what I'm all about. That's what I strive to be. Try to be the best person possible, and best man, best human being, and just try to do the work that God put me on this earth to do.
Your bio didn't sell you enough, right? But it sure led us to you telling us who you really are. So it's always good to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say, right?
Yes.
And so you've had an impressive career, needless to say. You just shared it with us. Over 25 years in engineering, healthcare. You just did some serious work here in Atlanta, with
Yes.
designing, building a hospital. What initially inspired you to get involved in this field?
So it's funny. I would say, engineering is something that I think from an early age I wanted to be an engineer. I remember getting I got a plane when I was like 3 years old, and the first thing I did, I got a plane. My brother got a plane. He was a year and a half older than me, and I was able to basically to pull apart my plane much quicker than him, because I think I could pull it apart and put it back together. It didn't work. His worked. I was extremely upset. So that's one of the thing that I grew up in terms of like always trying to fix things, take things apart and pull it. So it's something that somebody said, hey, that you must be an engineer. That's related to engineering. So that's always etched in my head. Going through high school and going through primary school and high school. And then I really I got a gift, really and truly in the sciences, and physics and maths and chemistry was my key subjects. And I was I did extremely well at high school. My teachers are pushing me to do medicine. I remember because of how well I was doing. But I always wanted to do engineering. So I went to the University of the West Indies, and the intent was actually to go to med school, because my mom and my grandma, everybody wanted me to do medicine. But after a year, I actually decided that I'm going to do engineering, and I applied to go to Trinidad. And at the time, it's only in Trinidad you could actually do your engineering degree at that time, in 1993, and pursue a degree in civil engineering. And with my engineering degree, I actually decided to move to the UK. My mom just moved there at the time, and I got a couple of job offers in Jamaica, but at the time it's just like I wasn't ready with respect to accommodation. I really didn't. I got a job in Kingston with JPS, Jamaica Public Service at the time, and I didn't have anywhere to stay, so it wasn't, didn't make a whole lot of sense. So my mom said, "Why don't you come to London or to the UK to really see if you can get a job?" And I went there and just work. Got struggled for a little while. I should tell you that I applied for about 100. I remember I read 100 application letters for a job, and got 2 interviews out of the 100. I got rejected 98 times, and so when I tell people is that I know about rejection, so that's something that I'm used to, but that doesn't stop me. But the interviews didn't turn into jobs. I worked as a customer service agent for about a year, and then work on construction site, actually site supervisor for another year, and then got the break into engineering, and got the first opportunity, and just somebody gave me that chance, and it wasn't in civil engineering, it was actually more in mechanical. And that's the reason why I worked for a little while, and worked for like almost a year, when my supervisor, my boss, said to me, "Do you want to do a master's? I'll pay for it." And that's how I did a master's in mechanical engineering. So for a little while I was doing data centers and commercial projects, but then I got introduced to healthcare. And the moment I got introduced to healthcare facilities, I realized that this is where I should be. And I tell you that hindsight is 50-50, because I actually had a bike accident when I was 18, just before going to Trinidad, where I spent 3 months in the hospital. I got because of the bike accident, my kneecap was split in 2. So I did 12 surgeries at the University Hospital. My foot was infected. They couldn't close it. Like, it took a while before I could even get out of the hospital. And infection in hospital is usually one of the challenges. Is it a sterile environment? Is the HVAC system robust enough and to prevent infection control? So there's a series of issues that could cause that, and that is really the engineering aspect and engineering design aspect of hospitals. And the moment I found the hospital and understood what it takes to design a healthcare space, whether it's an operating room or a procedure room, whether it's an X-ray room or CT scan or whatever imaging that we're talking about, a patient room or ICU, I realized that that engineering plays a huge role in infection control and ensuring that your patient, like when they come in the hospital, they don't come out with any nosocomial infection, which is hospital-based infection. So it's really just like something that it's like you turn pain into purpose, because that challenge that I went through actually helped me to understand the space much more, and also to learn how to contribute to that space, so that people like me, or people who experience it, I can help the process of getting them healthy if they're have a surgery or something like that. And I'm actually the Minister of Health in Jamaica. Actually brought me on about 3 years ago, when they were having a series of challenges with the Corner Regional Hospital, to help them to actually solve some of the challenges that they have, and brought me on as a quality control engineer for that project as well. So I actually went all the way back to Jamaica also to help because of my expertise in the healthcare field. So it's really something that it's not something that's common. And I should tell you, there's not a lot of folks that look like me that I could say that does healthcare engineering. I haven't seen a lot of those folks, but it's something that I always try to, if I get the opportunity, and when I get the opportunity, to bring folks along, who look like me, and I try to educate them and teach them about how important it is, and how lucrative also it is to learn something like this, because it's truly something that's valuable and something that could bring you extremely far in the engineering field.
Awesome. Gary, I know you have some questions. You're also in the healthcare business.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's like I'm listening to myself. I mean, he's got a bald head like me. I just feel I'm at home. But Gerald, it's interesting. I mean, I'm a real estate broker. You mentioned real estate.
Yes.
I own a 14-bed personal care home in Kennesaw. Been doing it for 17 years. So some of the things you touched on, I mean, we'll talk later because we could go into this, but congratulations on what you're doing, and
Thank you.
You're a humble young man. When I say young man, no, Lax is going to tell me that I'm senior, but I'm going to use young man. You're a humble young man, and
Yes.
Being humble is great and gracious. But earning fellow status with the American Hospital Association is a major accomplishment. What does this recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
And to be honest, it meant everything. At the time that I got it, I was the first African American actually, engineer who actually got that, was elevated to the status of fellow. One of my crowning moment, in my career, and it's funny that I explained to you there's a 11-year period that you have to traverse to get qualified, and it includes thought leadership. It include writing several articles. It requires a lot of presentation at AHA conferences and so forth. But also your qualifications, your term of your degrees, whether you're licensed and other stuff. But the first step is to get something that you call a senior. So I became a senior, and when I became a senior, which is 7 years after I joined the AHA, I was on the stage, and when I came off the stage, a military guy from NAFAC, Army Corps of Engineers, came to me and he said, "How did you get up there?" And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, "I've never seen, a black man like on this stage, and I've been part of this conference for 30 years. I've never seen a black man being elevated to even a senior." And that was, for me, the light bulb went off, because I didn't realize, I'm just navigating and really trying to achieve something and trying to uplift my career and really trying to create a space that nobody, showed me or illustrate that to me, but I wanted to, that because the AHA, which is in form of in charge of American Society of Healthcare Engineers, is the highest association there for healthcare engineers. So that's the mecca. And I wanted to, go to the top. I wanted to be elevated to the top. So getting that, and when he said that to me, that was like for me a charge. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, then that means fellow is going to be much more, much more a huger, challenge to achieve. So immediately my head got swollen, and I'm like, this is what I wanted to achieve. And immediately I set out all the requirements. I went and found all the requirements, what I needed and stuff. And for the next 4 years, I'm like on the ball. I'm making sure that all the boxes are ticked, and I'm doing absolutely everything. And if they ask me to do 3 requirements in terms of 3 presentation, I'm doing 6, because I'm doubling up on everything. So I'm going to be undeniable. So that's exactly what I did. And when I achieved it, I remember there was a past president. His name is Schumacher. Older guy. He was like in his 80s when he was still attending the conferences. And he came to me and he said to me, when I got it, he said, "I was on the review committee, and I could tell you that your submission was one of the best articulated submission I've ever seen."
Wow.
And I'm like, that for him to say that, it was just like, and this is something that I didn't ask a marketing person. I didn't ask absolute anybody. I wanted to own this thing for myself. I did it myself, because I'm like, I couldn't allow somebody to mess this up for me. That ownership and accountability was me. And that's something that, like, I could tell you that it brought me a long way. It helped me in my career a whole lot in terms of, for how the company viewed. I remember my boss at the time. This is something that was extremely special. My boss lives in Dallas. The company I was working for was WSP, 80,000 employees globally. The CEO of the company decided that my wife was there. My sister came from the UK, and I'm on the stage. And when I looked, sitting at my table was my CEO. I didn't even know that he was coming. When I came down, he said to me, I couldn't miss this for the world. I had to. And he flew down just for the award ceremony, and flew back right after. So this is how important something like that is, and really shows that the value of achieving something like this at the age of 44. So it was at a young age compared to what most people are getting those that type of status. So it's something that I'm elated. I'm still something that I think that's one of the highest point of my career so far.
So far. So there's more to come. Well, before we go to you, I just want to acknowledge we have Marjorie Banton watching from the UK, your old stomping ground there, Garold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we have Lisa Richmond, thanks Lisa, and we have Selena Chiruta from Kenya. So you have people watching you from all over the world. Juan, move it to you.
Yeah, so from what you shared, we know that you have worked on projects across the globe, to expand countries, but what are some of the most challenging and rewarding healthcare infrastructure projects that you've been involved in?
So I'm going to start with we've in about 10 days there will be a hospital called the Cedar Hill GW Regional Medical Center that's going to be in Ward 8, which is Anacostia of Washington, D.C. That's southeast Washington, D.C., where a lot of Black people, African American, and Hispanic lives. During the pandemic, so I tell you the history of that D.C. community. It's one of those places that people, obviously the challenges is the food desert there because there's not a lot of supermarkets. There's the hospital that exists there is 3/4 of the hospital is closed because it's been on the run and just not providing great services for the community. There's no urgent care. There's no primary care facilities in that community. During the pandemic, we realized how challenged the community is because a lot of the people that actually succumbed to COVID, 80% came from that community, and that's it really stirred a urge and need and a call to action for me to say, what, we need to figure out something for this community, and we need to get together and figure out how we can bring a hospital to that community. There was always questions about it. There was always plans to get it done, but no other time that was more important than after the pandemic to really make sure that we double down, we get involved in Community Action Network and work with the mayor and work with all the counselors. And I took that action. Like my company wasn't involved in those type of activities. To be honest, I did most of the work in my spare time. I formed relationship with the mayor's office and with the different area networks in terms of hospitals, and really try to put together a team to figure out how we can fight to get this project approved, funded, and to have a hospital system to actually run this hospital. Also because the problem is that the hospital has been run by DC, who they don't know DC council, who don't know how to run hospitals. So that's one of the challenges. So we got it done. We got the deal done. We went through several challenges, but eventually got it done. The GW, which has one of the best hospital in DC, decided to actually lease, took over the lease for 100 years for the new hospital. I put together a team which was competitive, and Juan the design for the project. I was the principal in charge for the project. I put together a very diverse team. 45% African American company was part of the design team. And we won the project, and the project is going to be open in a few weeks, which is, like, for me, it's a complete different approach, to serve an underserved community, because one of the challenges that we all have in most of these communities is that the lack of access to good health care. And this is something that I think that's going to change the life of a lot of Black people, from the DC community. And I was just happy that that I was able to play a role in this. I mentioned it in my new book because I think it's one of the projects that I always say, there's something that that the company was doing, it's like, what makes a place, and they were talking about aesthetic and how beautiful a project is, and but one of the things that I actually have this project as my what makes a place. It's really the function, and really this hospital is solving a key challenge that's going to help underserved communities. It's going to help healthcare equity. It's going to allow people like us to have the opportunity to increase your life expectancy, which I could tell you that life expectancy in the Southeast community compared to Georgetown, which is a different community, is 18 years. Meaning that people that live in that community are going to live 18 years less than someone from the most affluent community in the same Washington, D.C. area. And I'm sure there's a lot of challenge. There's a lot of the same situation going on all over the U.S., to be honest. But, this was in my backyard, and I was able to, to push and make sure that this project is built for the community.
Access to resources. Wow, so important. Well, Garold, you did some work down there at Cornwall Regional in Jamaica. How's things there now? How's things going?
So one of the challenge, people are, one of the biggest things that that people have to understand is the evolution of that project. That project didn't start as a replacement hospital or a full revitalization. The project started because there was nauseous fumes. That was before me, and this was affecting all the staff and the nurses and the doctors, and people were actually getting sick. And this occurred for a while. They couldn't identify what made that happen. So they brought in certain expert, from UN operations from Europe. They brought in different infection specialist folks, and for a little while they couldn't figure it out. They tried, failed, and eventually they had to evacuate the whole hospital. All the patient floors had to be evacuated. Sometime after, they identified that it was something that was coming from a flue that was running straight through the hospital from the boiler fluid from the steam boilers in the basement. But that was after. So when they were checking and looking at the air conditioning system, it was compromised because it was closed down. It was the hospital, the whole AC unit was closed down for about 3 years and then put back into service. So you can understand, it wasn't cleaned. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's associated with, with different, if it's, whether it's a bacterial, fungi, or any other microorganism that's been growing in, so there's a whole lot of stuff that they were experiencing, and they made a decision that they were just going to renovate the space, and only the space that was was affected, which I believe it's just at the time they were trying to minimize cost and save, so that they could get back the patients in the hospital. To be honest, in hindsight, I think that was the wrong approach. I think if they understand, the extent of the challenge that they had, and also understand the infrastructural challenge of Cornwall, they would have made a quicker decision to do a full renovation job, or full gut, and so this. So after they spent a series of money, a lot of money, doing all these bit parts and trying to solve a challenge that's much bigger than what they expected, so there was a lot of money being spent, and that was one of the biggest challenge because, obviously, the folks want the hospital, the opposition or whoever is seeing a hospital that so much millions of dollars have been spent, and this hospital is still haven't been open, and they made a decision that they were going to do a full gut and really basically rebuild this hospital inside out. So that was a decision, and when they made that decision, I think at the time it was the right decision, because there was so much structural challenges that's associated with it. The HVA system was way beyond its useful life and needed to be replaced. There was most of the system that was just not maintained because for some reason, I think a lot of the healthcare system in Jamaica is struggling from that, is that they're installing brand new equipment and they don't have anybody there to actually maintain these equipments. And, so preventative maintenance is one of the most important things in a hospital, in the first world country. And that's something that Jamaica has to basically try to implement and create a team that knows and understand how to maintain these type of system as well. So now they have the opportunity to rebuild this now. So I was brought in during the design phase of this. So my team has been doing the quality control. So when they do the design, and I would inspect all the design, going through making sure that it meets the required standards, and then also when they're doing the construction, I'm there to my team is there to assess and look at the quality of some of the insulation and making sure they're meeting all the requirements, and it's designed it's constructed according to the design and meet the requirement for hospital standards. Because one of the things that you have to understand is that designing a hospital is not the same thing as designing a commercial building or a hotel or even or even a lab. It's so there's about 20 or 50 different type of rooms within a hospital, and each of them have a different design requirements. Air changes in terms of infection control requirement, filtration requirement, name it. There's all sort of stuff that's associated with it that people really don't understand because they have no, and that's the reason why in the US you have healthcare specialists, healthcare architects that only do healthcare facilities. That's all they do. You have healthcare engineers that only design healthcare facilities. All they do. And you have contractors who specialize in the construction of healthcare facilities. And one of the requirements, if you're going to bid for a project or RFP, you're required to build 5 of these facilities. You're required to design 5 of these facilities that look the same way, of the same size, of the same scope. So there's all sort of stuff that's that in the first world, and in England, in Germany, in Holland, in Norway, that I do a lot of projects, is the same exact thing. It's just like you have to be a specialist in the field to in order to get to do the right thing, because you can't just never done a hospital before and just go and say tomorrow I'm going to design a hospital and I'm going to construct a hospital. So that's some of the challenge that they were going through. They're opening up the administrative part of the hospital in a few months, and they're going to do some phases. So they're going to phase open the rest of the hospital over the next year and year and a half. So it's been a challenge, I have to say. I think it's been a challenge also because of the procurement process in Jamaica. Oh man, I've never seen a procurement system that is so lopsided and so drawn out that it took me about a year and a half to actually get contracted to do work there. So that's how crazy it is. And my submission was a year and a half, and everything takes because obviously they're claiming to dot all the I and cross the T's, but I think it's just really overkill. I think it needs to be simplified, and that's and also it would help attracting external companies to be able to do work much easier in Jamaica. But also as part of that also is to help some of the external company that they could help to teach the local company and really bring them along. And that's one of the things that I'm always doing. Like I'm bringing engineers that are local, and I'm showing them our process. So when I walk away and when my team walk away, they're able to maintain it. They're able to understand how it, how it came together, and also what it needs to help this facility to live and exist for at least 50 years, because that's usually the normal expected life for a hospital of that size.
But Cornland Regional is a very important hospital.
Yes.
in Western Jamaica, right?
Yes, it is
very important that thing is up and running, and it's been out down for a while.
Yep, too long if you ask me. But
let us take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about leadership. We'll talk a little bit more on this. Right? Now, this is a video I want you to watch, because I want you to comment on this video as well.
Okay, no problem.
Trails written of hearts that strive through fire and flame, they find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway. Becoming iron, with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Faces the darkest night, the empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Together they rise, conquering fears, becoming iron through trials and fears. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Becoming iron rose where he belongs. Becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong, shining in the night. And the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light, they becoming iron in the endless fight. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher, displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. In the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light, they become iron in the endless fight. They become iron in the endless fight. In the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through.
All right. Welcome back from Tales of Old. Battles new, conviction light sees them through. You're watching Bridging Generation, Voices of Men. Our guest is Garold Hamilton. He's been sharing all kinds of stuff with us. His work, big stuff he's doing globally. And you know what is important to me? He's doing it in Jamaica, because we need better healthcare infrastructure in Jamaica. It's so important there. John, so that's becoming iron.
Yes.
Identify 4 categories of men. Juan, what are the categories?
We got the resilient, the brave, the inspiring. What's the empowering?
You can only choose one. Gerald, you can only choose one. Which one you identify with the most?
So you said the resilient?
Yeah, that's one.
Resilient. The resilient. And that's it's funny when I think about becoming iron, it's the resilient. It's the resiliency that you develop and like for me, when I talk about, the Ghetto Youth's Bible and actually coming from a tough background, it's building that resilience and that strength that nothing, would deter you from whatever goal
Yeah.
that you set. Whatever challenges that comes in your way, you fight through them. And that's what I think, when you said becoming Iron Man, listen, that's what you have to do. And that's something that I think that we're kind of lacking for some of the youths nowadays, to be honest. It's when you talk to them, you find out how fickle and how weak some of their mental is. And that's something that I think it's the onus and is on us, to be honest, to recreate what we experienced with growing up, with our community helping us to become iron, with people around us to empower us and try to build that type of resiliency, in us. And to me, I always tell people, man, if I wouldn't give up or take back anything in terms of my upbringing and my growth, because everything that I've experienced prepare me for exactly so most of the
Yeah.
challenges that I've actually gone through in life.
Hmm. Couldn't agree more. Juan, are you still that resilient man?
I am resilient. Yes, absolutely. But I've shifted to this brave man because I think that's what it takes to even face the challenges that are ahead. Is to be brave, and
Yeah.
Dr. McCook, are you still resilient?
Still resilient. Still resilient.
Juan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
Man,
Resilient
we'll
from day one.
walk through the darkest night and come through it, no matter
Yeah.
what. But so, all right, so let's move back. One, let's start with you, but I know you have questions for Gerard.
yeah. So we're moving to a segment where we're discussing your impact and leadership, and so we're aware that you've authored over 40 articles in healthcare and engineering publications.
Yes.
What message do you hope to leave with professionals in your field?
To be honest, with most professionals, that is possible. Like it's possible for a black person to really rise, to the annals of the top of engineering
Mm,
in any first world country. It's really that's something that I realized that there was not many folks who looked like me, and I decided that I'm gonna create that path and really document that path also that people could see and people could sometimes they're saying that one of the saying that if you can see it you will believe it. So it's
mhm.
more I didn't I couldn't see it because I didn't see anybody who looks like me and rise into these type of positions. But to actually achieve it, it's really something that I think that and I continue to do. And I particularly reach out sometimes for Black engineers. I'm a part of NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, that I I try to make sure that people understand the path that they need to do, and that's something that I continue to do, to be a mentor. And to be honest, not only I'm a mentor throughout and out. I manage a whole lot of people who doesn't look like me, but mentorship is something that I do with them every day, because I aim to get them better and get them inspired, to achieve much more than, or achieve their goals and achieve even much more than in goals. It's just something that I think this is a part of me and a part of what I do. And to be honest, when I talk about leadership and leading people, it's really mostly not even about myself. It's really about empowering those folks to achieve their goals and really to see beyond and see even more than what they
Yeah.
anticipate that would achieve. And that's something that I is a big part of my leadership style.
You said
Some good
something,
stuff.
and I remember when President Obama was elected, it gave a lot of us hope that we can be something.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about. You're talking about that. How big was that, right? having this man becoming the president. That inspired, motivated, and gave people that look like us hope, right?
Yes.
So that's big. That's big stuff. And what we bring you on this program, not for you to really talk about yourself, just to talk about yourself.
Yes.
For people to see, people that, not just people who look like us, but people to see that here's someone coming from where he's coming from. And look what he's doing.
Yeah.
What is it? And what he will, and he's continuing to do more. So it's so important for us to put it out there, right? Just as bad things are out there and spreading like wildfire, we need to flood the place with good stories. Right?
Absolutely.
You agree, Dr. McCook?
I agree. And you mentioned Obama. I always look at that as a moment in time.
Yes.
Something that we can relate to. Again, as you said, our guest here, you're here to show the world that people who look like you can do as much as you can because you're resilient.
Yes.
Because
among other things. So he's also brave. He's also inspired, but also
resilient. No. This award, I call it ASHRAE Technology Award. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
What's the meaning? What's the acronym for?
So American, it's Association of Heat and Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Engineers.
Okay.
So that's ASHRAE. Yeah. So that's the organization that writes all the codes for design of HVAC systems. So anything to do with heating, air conditioning, those are the guidelines. They write the codes.
Okay.
ASHRAE actually has a standard called ASHRAE 170, which is ASHRAE 170 is heating and ventilation design guidelines for hospital environments.
Wow.
So that's the Bible when it comes to most of the stuff. So the reason why your thermostat is set at 70 degrees or cannot be set at 50 degrees is because there's a standard and requirement by ASHRAE, that says that it should be. It to determine a whole lot of stuff respect to that. So that's an organization that with respect to what they do on a yearly basis, they look at you submit your designs of different hospitals or healthcare centers to them, and based on the judges and criteria, they would basically award the most innovative projects during that year, and then it would write to the national awards that to the US, and so I actually got awarded about 3 different times for projects that I've designed as so that's something that's huge in itself, because that's something that's an accolade that that, and the award comes in your name, so it's not in the firm name. It's actually you actually get the award as the individual. It's an individual award that that you get. So that's something that that I achieved. And one of the things also with respect to that, also I actually, when I was 39, I actually was named one of the 40 under 40. That means the 40 under 40 top engineers in the US by Construction Specified Engineering magazines as well. So series of accolades and stuff that really kind of paved, the way in terms of engineering and really kind of highlight a lot, some great achievements throughout.
So what was your innovation? What's the innovation behind that project that earned you that award?
So one, it was for a project called the NICO, National Intrepid Center of Excellence. And that's a project that there's a philanthropic billionaire called Arnold Fisher. At the time, he was donating a building to the different military site to deal with traumatic brain injury. So these are for military folks who came back from the war, who most of these VAs didn't actually have the capacity to treat a lot of these patients. So he decided that he was going to build a high built the first center of excellence in terms of, he built in San Antonio, that it was specific for treating these type of patients, never done before anywhere in the US or in the world. And with the type of anti-gravity machines for people who lost their limbs, to learn to walk again, a series of imaging brain scan machines that analyze your brain pre-war and post-war, just to show the differences, and really a whole lot of technological advancement that help a lot of patients. And you would hear these stories when you visit these these sites and hear these war. And challenge after the war, and they were able to treat them, and they could go back to experience full life, be fathers, and this facility that we did was the first when we did that. And then we actually did 11 of these facilities on different military sites throughout. And I remember one of the questions, they wanted to build it the cheapest possible, because it's donated. And I remember I said, well, if we're going to build these facilities for these veterans and these persons who are experiencing, these traumas and these brain challenges, we want to make sure that we design a much more efficient system in terms of energy, so that we want, not only we're taking care of patients, also we're taking care of the environment. So we're making sure that we want to make sure that there's something called LEED, which is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, criteria that you can design spaces towards. So I challenge the design team to do that. And I remember the military said, no, we're not doing that. But I was able to present to Arnold Fisher, myself, and I remember my boss was saying, I don't think he's going to say yes. So you can try it, but he's just going to shoot it down. And I remember presenting the case, and he said, and he turned to the design team and he said, whatever Mr. Hamilton says, that's what we're going to do, without even questioning it. Without even questioning anything, which is just like, I couldn't believe it. My boss came out, he's like, this is the first, because this is a guy who he shoots his own show. He comes to the site in his chopper, in his helicopter. That's how he arrives and stuff and everything. And he would just shot in this, larger than life, and listen to young engineers at the time, and make a huge decision that will increase the cost of the project, but also will give him a project that he could actually show that it's much more than people. It's about environment, and it's much more than and just throwing money down the drain, but understanding that it's going to solve an intrinsic challenge, but also solve an environmental challenge as well. So that's the reason why it was innovative, and that's how I actually that's how they built 11 of these all over the US on military sites throughout.
So the brave you came out in that one.
Yes. It did.
Who dare you, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure, and all the other stuff that you do is just a piece of what you do.
Yes.
I'll be the big stuff, right? But
Yes.
philanthropy and community impact is so important in your story.
Yes.
Your Dreams to Reality Foundation, helps low-income children achieve self-sufficiency through education and sports.
Yes.
What inspired you? How did you get into this?
It's funny. So growing up, I remember one of my, I think, I have very strong moral compass. It's, faith has been an important part of my upbringing, and my belief in God has been tremendous, and He has been, carrying me through fire without being burnt. Like I don't question it, when it terms of that, but because at an early age, I remember the Grace and Truth Assembly Hall, where it was in, there was 3 missionaries who came to my community, and my mom at the time opened up our yard to have them come in and teach Sunday school at my house. And they were doing that. Howard Varmint, Anthony Boyd, and my other I call him Bees, but they came every Sunday religiously, and they were teaching us, the Bible, and really, bringing us, we're, as a community, as I said, it was in the ghetto. It was one of those communities that people, want to help and stuff. So they chose to do that. I remember also, not only that, like Mr. Verman took it up upon itself to be a mentor, and also he was a teacher at Manage High School, and he chose about 4 students from the community that he saw that has the ability academically, and he would bring us to his house, and in the evenings we would stop when we were coming from school, and do practice exams, and he would teach us, maths, and teach us mental ability and English and everything. And we did that for a number of years before we took our common entrance exams. So I passed, I remember, first choice, but they took that that chance on us, but also, they were able to mentor us, to be somebody, because they saw that we have that ability. And actually going through that experience actually just gave me, that drive to say, what, if somebody that don't know me and don't, not from even from the same background. Mr. Howard Vermont was a white man, who Canadian, who, came to Jamaica to teach. And, these persons were able to pour in us, so much. And then going through high school, my coach, my football coach, was one of those persons as well that took me under his arms and lift me up and show me that, that I'm a leader. Before, I was captain of the football team, the soccer team. And, these are the series of persons that were able to pour in, into me, and just to give me so much. My community, they used to lift me up. When I remember I used to play, soccer, I had my own stand, like when I'm playing games that they were chanting my name. And those are the stuff that meant like a whole lot. I remember when I was in the hospital, and this is a story I remember it like it was yesterday. I had my 5th surgery. The community decided that, so it's 3.5, 4 hours distance from Savlamar to Kingston, because I did my surgery at the University Hospital in Kingston. My community, who not most of them never even been to Kingston ever before, they chartered a bus. And these are folks from, I don't even know how they afforded to do that, to be honest, because they're challenged financially. They chartered a bus, and about 2 buses, and most of the community actually came to the hospital to see me, to look for me. That this is a 17-year-old kid who, was in the hospital for 3 months, and they wanted to show me that they care. That's something that I remember. I had the surgery the night before. When they came, like, usually I'm on this excruciating pain. I want the heaviest medication to get rid of the pain. And because I know that they were coming, I know if I took the medication, I would fall asleep. I told the doctor that I'm not going to take the medication. So this is right after the surgery, because I want to spend time with the community folks that they came in 5 at the time, because they can't come in the hospital at the same time, just to see their son, just to see their brother, their person. That's something that stood out to me, up until now. And, that was a vow to me, that for them to do something like that means that there's no way I can forget my community, because my community never forget me, and they wanted me. They were my cheerleader. So that was something that's been instilled in me, and really, to give back, because they gave me that platform. They gave me that wings, so I could fly. They basically, they created the iron, to be honest, in terms of pushing me, to be resilient and to be forceful and to fight through, the pain and to really just look forward, and really just not looking back. And that's something that I continue to do. At the moment I was called on, I didn't even hesitate right away. I was sponsoring football competition. I have people, to be honest, there's a lot of charity work that I do that I don't even tell people about, because it's really just something that's a part of me. That's something that, if I tell everybody, they're like, oh, why would you, you shouldn't be doing that or whatever. But it's just something that I think that, if I see where somebody legitimately need that help and I could afford to do it, that's something that I always want to make sure that I do, because that's what people did for me growing up. And that's what I hope that my kids, my 4 kids will do the same thing. And I hope that my kids of kids and their friends and everybody will do the same thing, because that will truly change, the world. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for inspiration, looking for people who really want to, pay it forward and really, try to give back to their community.
And your community built that bridge for you to
Yep.
cross. Too many people, once they cross it, they kick it up.
Yeah.
But you kept that bridge open, and you made the
Yes.
bridge even longer.
Yep.
You made that bridge even longer. Awesome. Gary, Juan, you're on.
Okay.
What I wanted to add is because you mentioned it, I was actually going to ask you, but you mentioned it. I'm actually a member of Nesby Junior chapter here in Gwinnett, so definitely it's inspiring to see some, another Black engineer. These are some of the youth that I work with. Just seeing them like just emerge and grow and develop. So it truly is inspiring. So it's good to hear that you're part of the Nesby.
Absolutely, man.
corporation.
Absolutely. It's a great organization.
Yeah.
Great organization.
Absolutely.
I have a story so they just had the Nesby 50 conference in Chicago.
Chicago. I was there.
Chicago, yeah. So I wasn't able to go. I wanted to go, but I wasn't able to go. But a friend of mine called me, good friend, and he said his son Zachary was going to be attending. And it was the first time Zachary was even traveling so far. He was traveling from he was traveling from Orlando to to Chicago, and he was worrying about him. And I'm like, don't worry, because I was supposed to be there to show him around, So Zachary is graduating in December. So what I did, I basically called a number of folks and said, hey, listen, I put them in email conversation and text conversation with a number of folks there, to show them around. Gave them they created a whole timetable and a calendar for him to see different companies and stuff. And one of the company that I wanted him to work, he's electrical engineer. He's studying electrical engineering and computer. So I want, like, Schneider Electric is a company that I have great relationship with, and I'm like, for a kid, because he loves automation, he loves AI and robotics, and I'm like, Schneider is one of the biggest company, multi-billion-dollar company in the world. I have a great relationship, and I said, listen, I want to get you an interview with Schneider. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I reached out to some of my Schneider folks, and that was at Nesby. And they basically grabbed him on his wings, got him an interview. He called me. He was so excited. He's like, I got an interview. I said, all right, great. So let's prepare for it. So, I gave him some, went through some preparation, and then he went and did the interview. When he finished, he said, went well. He was so excited. He's like, this, made the whole conference. So it happened that the reason why I didn't go to Nesby, because they had the ASHI National Conference, Planning and Design Conference, in Atlanta the same weekend. So the Nesby finished the Sunday, and ASHI started the Sunday, and the same folks who interviewed him from Schneider came. I had dinner with on the Monday. So this was just like, it's God's, like, this is just God.
Yeah.
It's creating the pattern, it's putting all this stuff together. And they said to me, oh yeah, the interview went great. So I said, what's the situation? The next evening when I saw them after dinner, they said, oh, Zachary, they were gonna give him, internship, and they wanted, after the internship, they will hire him, full time. And I'm like, you must be kidding me. So when I messaged Zachary and said, hey, you should be expecting an offer soon. And he's like, no. He's like, Uncle, are you serious? I'm like, yes, you will be. And then in about half an hour, he sent me a copy of his offer letter that he got from them.
That's
And it
big.
was just like, man, listen, like that was you. If he's on cloud 9, I was on cloud 100. This is what's like, because that's what, like, these stuff that
Yeah.
makes me happy, because a black young guy, you know, he's Jamaican and stuff. And when I call his dad, man, his dad was crying. He's his only son. He said, man, you don't even know what you've done for me. You know, these are the small stuff that you're able to do at your level that,
Yeah.
like, for me, the
Yeah.
that those are my celebration and my happiness. Like doing those stuff and everything that just gave me so much, ignite so much, you know, joy in actually doing something like that and achieving something like that. And it's not even about me celebrating his win, and was able to create a path for him to get that win. And you know, it's just, man, a most amazing feeling ever.
Wow. Wow. What a story. You know, let's talk a little bit about Ghetto Youth Bible. Gary,
Yes.
let's
Yes.
talk about Ghetto Youth Bible, Gary. I know you have some questions about that.
Yeah. So many young people struggle with breaking barriers to success.
Yes.
What is one of the key pieces of wisdom from your book that you which every young person could take to heart?
Yes. So it's funny. What I create, and it's funny, a lot of people are like, why is it called Bible? A lot of people are kind of upset, to be honest. Sometimes they're like, you know, why? But I'm not, you know, I don't want to, you know, to mimic, you know, the Holy Bible itself. But I wanted to share, you know, some essentials stuff that I think that, you know,
Hmm.
it's intertwined in biblical terms as well, just to show people that there's stuff that if you cling to and if you abide. And I call it the 10 commandments of Get the Youth's Bible. And these are some of the stuff that I walked through. I said the first one is thou shalt, because I written it in that way as well. Thou shalt identify role models. So it's, you know, so that's number one. That's the first one. And it said choose people that you respect and admire, not for the things that they can buy, but for their accomplishment and their attitudes that they have developed. Turn to others, you know, turn to those who inspire you, whether it's academically, athletically, professionally, or spiritually. It says learn from situations too. So you don't have to go through those situations yourself. You could live vicariously through somebody, but make sure that you don't make that mistakes also, you know. So sometimes you have to learn that way. You know, so it's really trying to figure out who can I see that's that person that could give me the opportunity, that could teach me something that would help me to navigate my path much more easier. And that's what mentorship is. And I think everybody needs a mentor. It doesn't matter what stage of life that you are. And there's always this upper limit. As I said, there's no upper limit on excellence. So there's always somebody that's above that, you know, that you trying to be like, or trying to see what they do that's different. That's why we look at, you know, thought leaders. That's why we look at you know, we go out and we look at John Maxwell, and we look at, you know, those leadership coaches and stuff. It's really figuring out what can we glean and learn from them so that we can uplift ourselves, so that we can lift others. And the next one I said, thou shall make a plan. That means it's just saying that in life you have to create a plan. It cannot be a situation that you're living at the whim and just get it and make it up as it goes. You have to be intentional in doing that. And when you create that plan, sometimes it's better to actually have it written down, because when you write it, it somehow becomes real, you know, so that you have the boxes that you can tick off and stuff. And it says also that it's not every time the plan is going to work. You have to calibrate the plan as well. So as life goes along, as conditions change, as situation change, as these challenges going on around you, you have to kind of tweak the plan so that you know you get it right. The other one says, thou shall become a lifelong learner. And that's one of the things that I continue to do. You learn every day. It's not only improving your, with certification and everything, but you have to be curious. You have to make sure that if, whether it's in, you're starting a nonprofit, whether it's in your career, you have to create a situation in which you're continuing to learn, because one of the beauty of doing that is that you become indispensable, meaning that if you're in a job or a career and and you can do multiple things, it's more difficult for them to get rid of you, because as you rise the ladder, I could guarantee you're going to be a target. It's simple. I've seen it. I've seen people that don't even look like me and stuff and everything who have risen to the top, and the young gun will just come and just replace him because they could pay him less, or they could figure how he can actually do the same job. So it's really trying to make sure that you're diversifying yourself at every level with continuing to learn and continuing to diversify your skill sets. I have one that says, thou shalt embrace values over value. And this was just talking about the first, what I call Get the Youth Bible series that I did, was talking about youths thinking that when they buy a brand new car, it's something that they have arrived. And I'm like, the moment you buy that car, it loses about 20% the moment you drive it off the lot. So I'm willing them and saying to young men, think about how can you achieve residual income? Like, what can you do in terms of investments? Is it a situation in which you can invest, in buying your first house, getting on the property ladder? That will give you, some equity that you can use to invest in other things. So it's really just talking about looking at, but also your value system. How are you showing up? I always say, one of the most important things in my career is really having people, somebody wants to, somebody will work with you if they know they can trust you. It's that simple. So it's really having your value system that will create that vigor in you, that you're a man of your words, you're a man of God, you're a man of faith, and know that if somebody asks me to do something, I'm going to try and to my absolute best to make sure that I get that done. And that would help you. It's really something that I think that truly help you in life, to make sure that your value system is solid. The other thing I said, thou shalt be the CEO of your own life. You're in control. Nobody else is. It doesn't matter how much mentorship you get from anybody. It doesn't matter how much your parents teach you. It doesn't matter how much your lecturers and everybody. You are in charge ultimately. So when it comes down to accountability, and when it comes down to you looking back, don't ever say, I didn't achieve this because of this. It's up to you. So that's up to you to make that decision. So when you succeed, you understand that you are driving, that you are the chief operating officer, executive officer of your life, and you have to make sure that that's something that you know and understand. Thou shalt seize initiative. When you get that opportunity, when you set yourself up, when you create your plan, that door will be open. Will you be ready to go through it? That's something that you have to ask yourself. Are you prepared? One of the things that I always learned, if you fail to prepare to fail. And that's something that's always a part of that's something that I hold it. And my coach teach me that when I was 13 years old. And it's been etched in my head. Everything that I do, preparation is extremely important. One of the things I always say, man, be bold. Ask, seek, knock. Because if you do that, I'm sure, as I said, if the door is not open, you just have to find a way to kick it down somehow. And the next one I said, thou shalt nurture entrepreneurial spirit. So that's me doing a 9-to-5. Yes, that's something that doesn't say you cannot be an entrepreneur. A lot of people have this misnomer. It's like, oh, if I'm working for the man, like I cannot be an entrepreneur. No, absolutely you can. For people like us who didn't have the background, we didn't have wealth, we didn't have our parents giving us even a education that we have to take student loans. We're walking out of university with student loans that we have to pay back. We don't have a house that somebody is handing to us. So we have to create something that we have to create our own capital. And in doing a 9 to 5, if we want to be entrepreneurs, hey, you create your own capital. You get on the top of the ladder, you create your own equity where you can have your funds to invest in whatever you want to invest in. I always say, listen, you have, work that side hustle until it become your main hustle if you want to be an entrepreneur. But nothing is wrong with doing a 9 to 5 and then basically and improving in 9 to 5, but also you can actually multitask and actually do both. And 8 says, thou shalt develop a growth mindset. That the mind is unlimited. It's really, it's you cannot think that, you cannot set goals that's too low. I always say that. Steve Harvey said, if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming large, big enough. So I said, that's the thing about it. So you have to develop that mindset that every day, if I look back, if I'm better than yesterday, I've achieved something. And that's what you're looking for. You're just trying to, you're competing with yourself, and you're competing to be a better version of yourself every time. And that's what the goal is. And 9 says, thou shalt overdo it. Anything that you do. And I teach, when I do my mentorship, I'm teaching my kids. I said, man, anything that you do, make sure that you put your all in it. Because when you look back, you cannot say you failed because you didn't give it your all. Everything. If it's work, if it's play, if it's my foundation, if it's playing soccer, if it's playing anything, if it's doing everything, I'm going to try to be the best that I can be. That's just something that I'm committed to, and something that I have a mindset that would help you to propel you a whole lot. And then the last one, and certainly, as I said with my foundation, thou shalt pay it forward. That's something that's the most important. You have to give back, give back to your community. It doesn't matter if you're even in a position or you were born in a situation in which you were born with wealth. That's something that I think that would help if every one of us can reach back and help even one person. I think this world would be such a better place. And this is what Get the Youth Bible talks about.
Wow. Powerful. Growth mindset. Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Set goals are larger than you. Big stuff, right? And the list. Garold, it is obvious that an hour and a half is not long enough to have a conversation. It is obvious, right? But so one, and Dr. McCook, one final question before we ask Garold to give us his closing piece.
Yeah.
Gary,
Dr. Juan?
I'll ask, what is one key piece of wisdom from your book that you wish every young person could take to heart?
Man, that there's no limit to what you can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
None at all. It's really in your mindset. It's developing a strong mindset and just put in that work. I always say, man, listen, you will reap that benefits. It's you will have challenges. You will have situation in which I said, when you get lemon, you make lemonade. Yeah, there's going to be challenges and roadblocks, but those are part of the path. That you have to come up against and walk through, and it will make you stronger, and it will make the victory even much sweeter when you achieve it.
Interesting. So what I want to ask you is, you talk about success, you talk about paying it forward. what does success mean to you beyond the career accomplishments? I mean, we heard about the kids and everything. What does
Yeah.
success mean to you?
It's funny. Like I always, sometimes try. I struggled for some time with actually saying that I'm successful, to be honest, because I didn't want to seem boastful, and I didn't want to see, people, kind of feel that I'm showing off, or, bravado, he's not humble. That's some of the challenges that I've ever had in the past. But for me, success is really, it's really about achieving what you set out to achieve. Success is really about your fellow men, and your family, seeing you, and seeing how hard you have worked, and celebrating your wins with you. And really, success to me is not even me seeing that I'm successful. Is people actually giving me, and making those comments that, man, hey, I I like that you're successful, or giving me the rewards, and really getting some of the rewards and awards as well, because it really shows that this is really not even about, me seeing that. It's about other people actually realizing that I have achieved, I've achieved a lot. I've done a lot, and at some, it's funny. I wanted to tell you something about. I've achieved a whole lot in terms of, awards and everything. But in my book, I have something called, when I went to the UK, I when I was there, I felt alone. I didn't have a lot of friends. And one of the first thing that I did was I figured a way how to get my friends from the community to the UK with me. That's something I'm still holding as one of the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done in my life. I remember I lived in a with my stepdad and my mom, and it was a 3 bedroom, well, 2.5 bedroom house. And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, can I take my friend up? Because at the time there was no visa requirement. And she said, well, go ahead. And I bought a bed, and we put two beds in one of the rooms. And I took my friend, my friend Clinton Williams, one of my best friend when I was going high school, come to England to me, because I said, hey, you can achieve much more from England. And when he actually got a job, I took my cousin, and then fast forward like 3 years, I took maybe about over 100 people from my community to the UK. And I was working, had a great job. I was able to, to help them. And, it's really helped me to actually help people. And it's funny, like there's kids, they have people that came and got their masters, who are doing entrepreneurial, who are professors, from the people that actually took up to England, who kids are engineers and are finance, folks, and doing great things. So one of the things that, even for me, success is really, for me, is helping. Success is really helping, and reaching back and helping folks to be successful. It's really not about me, to be honest. It's really saying, how can I share what I've achieved with people, who need that help. And for me, I don't know if that's what, other people define success as, but that's my success.
And that is a success that is worth a legacy. Yes, indeed. So, all right, gentlemen, we are wrapping up, drawing down on the. We can't spend all day here because we don't have all day. Clear that you must come back on.
Yes.
And have you back on, because there's so much we didn't talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gerald, I want to ask you to,
Yes.
you've done so much, right? You've
Yes.
done a lot. Now, I want you to get close into the camera and I want you to talk to that one person
Yes.
out there who did for you what you're doing for others right now, who you credit for where you are today.
So, it's funny. There's many persons, but I really think Mr. Howard Verman, as we were telling you,
Mhm.
for his belief in me, and but also I would be remiss not to say, and I talk about it in my book, is my beautiful mother who didn't have an education, stopped going to school when she was 13 years old, and decided that she saw a son that had the potential, and decided that she's going to do whatever it takes to make sure that he got the education that she never had. And she made all different type of sacrifices. She didn't even have a job, but she believed and wanted and saw that education was the greatest equalizer. And my mother, Beverly Mackenzie Cohen, actually gave me everything that I needed. She taught me things that I couldn't read in books. She taught me values. She taught me resilience. She taught me entrepreneurship. Name it. She had it all. And, that's my tribute. To my dear mom, and I forever grateful for her.
And we're grateful for her because through her wisdom and what she instilled in you, look what you're doing
Yes.
for others. That's big. That's big. All right. So, any final thoughts, Gerald? Anything else you want to add?
So I see Miss Hilda Hubert is on, and listen, she was my teacher at
Yes.
Manning's, one of the best teacher that you could ever have, best mentor that you ever have. And it's one of those, and always lift me up and always put me on that pedestal, and among other teachers, but she was very special. I wanted to just shout out to her.
And still is very special.
Still is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Doing amazing work, she is.
Yeah.
And almost so many people that I know, she was their teacher.
She was, yes.
She was their teacher. All right. So, any final thoughts?
But thanks, for the opportunity, and really, just the opportunity to really to talk about me, but talk about my career, and also talk about my foundation and my book. And we definitely have to join you again. As I said, my next book, From Grit to Glory, is going to be out soon. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. To really give, some guidance to leadership in my field. And that's something that I think that I'm excited to share with you and your cast and folks that listening, and share with your team as well. So look out for that. But I'm excited. I enjoy this conversation. I realize that I'm like, there's no doctor beside my name, but there's doctors everywhere when I look, and I'm like, man, I'm missing something. So
We'll see what's going to happen with that. How about
yes,
that?
we're gonna make that happen.
It'll change real soon.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
something that-
But thank you guys for the opportunity. It was great. I enjoyed it. It's a real pleasure.
All right. So before we have Dr. McCook, I want to play a video. So we got to do a little bit of work here while we're having this awesome conversation. We still got to do a little bit of work. So I'm going to play a quick video, and then we'll come back and do closing arguments. All right.
I am Dr. Apollon Reed, President of the Jamaican Museum and Cultural Center.
I am Christine Mazuka, Vice President of the Jamaican Museum and Cultural Center.
We want to let you know that something big is about to happen in Atlanta, and you don't want to miss this.
The countdown has begun, and things are about to get electrifying.
Brace yourself, because what is coming will change everything you can imagine about Jamaica. Let us make history together. You've waited long enough. The moment is almost here.
Get ready to witness something unforgettable. We're bringing the rich history, culture, and legacy of Jamaica right to the heart of Atlanta. But we cannot do it without you.
Join us, support the movement, and be a part of something truly groundbreaking. This is history in the making, and you are a part of it.
Dr. McCook, what's going on?
Powerful. I mean, the world is watching. That was Dr. Apollo Reed, the president of JMCC, and Christine Marzuka, the vice president, and they told you all that you had to hear. The museum, Atlanta has so many things. We have Garold Hamilton here. We have Dr. Laxley, Dr. Juan, and myself. I think this is a place to be. This is a state to be. You know, Garold, you mentioned, first, I almost lost a bet because when Dr. Lax asked you about the one person to look in the camera, I said, yes, he's going to be all like all the other guests and start off with his mother. But you started off with somebody, but guess what? You redeemed yourself. You came right back around to mom.
Yes.
You came right back around to mom. Congratulations. Yes. I didn't lose. I did not lose. But, you know, thanks, you know, as Dr. Lax said, 2 hours is not enough for you. I think it's about 4 or 5. But you spoke about paying it forward. You spoke about resilience. You spoke about success means helping others. You spoke about achievement. And, you know, those are the things that I can align myself with, and all of us on this platform can align ourselves with. So I think it's a brotherhood we have formed, and we're going to continue. Tonight, I'm going to close out with my biblical way. And a lot of what you've said, you know, there's a phrase, with God, all things are possible, right? And it's rooted in Matthew 19:26. And actually saying, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And you're making it possible for many people like yourself, who look like yourself, and for the world. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCook. You know, I'm going to go next because we have a natural closer on this platform,
yes,
and that is Dr. Juan. So I'll go next. But let me say something to my co-hosts first. Gentlemen, I appreciate both of you for what you do, not just on this platform, but for the work you're doing in the world. You know, so I just want to encourage you, just keep plugging away, keep doing what you do, keep making a difference. We need that. We need what you do. Garold, I appreciate you coming on. We tried a couple of times, but tapping at the right time. And I just know that you must come back on. You know, your story is the example that we need right now in this time. Your story, what you represent, and I'm talking especially in our community, for people who look like us. With so much uncertainty out there, we need your story to be told. We need success stories. And the way you define success is not about you, but you did the hard work. You put in the work. And because you put in the work, you're telling other people through, you know, just by you being an example, that they can also achieve as well. Through commitment, dedication, their resilience, and just being brave, ready to go out there today. Now, I do want to say something to our audience and anyone who will be listening to this program later on. So as we close today's show, let us take a moment to reflect on the power of knowing who we are and why we are here. Each of us carries a story shaped by those who came before us and the choices we make today. We are bridges between generations. Our voices, our actions, and our purpose are what connect the past to the future. So let us remember that understanding ourselves isn't just about self-discovery. It's also about embracing our role in the greater picture. Knowing why we are here fuels our ability to make a difference, no matter how big or small. Whether through wisdom shared, kindness given, or bold steps taken, each of us, we have a role to play in shaping our tomorrow. So let us get out there and do our part. Step up, show up, and take action. Juan?
Yes, well, we've reached this that popular segment of our show, the end. And granted, we wanted more time, but I do want to say that one thing that our distinguished guest kept talking about was preparation. We heard a lot of the impact that he's had. We've seen a lot. We've heard a lot of the action steps and just the work that he's done, but it did not come without preparation. So I want to say this to our followers, our listeners, our audience. The legendary basketball coach John Wooden said this. He said, "When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare." And so I want you to let that marinate, that everything that we've heard tonight, everything we've seen, we marveled, right? But all of that great success did not come without moments of preparation. So you've been given an opportunity, you've thought about your dreams, you're colliding with your purpose. Whatever this moment in time is for you, allow preparation to gear you and get you ready for the opportunity that's on its way. So tonight, thank you to our distinguished guests for preparing us, even for the days to come, just to be ready to continue to have an impact in our community. We same time every week. We look forward to seeing you joining us as our distinguished co-host every Monday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Monday night, same time. We will see you next week. Enjoy your evening. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bridging generations, the world keeps turning, the times move